Hey, writers! I want to talk to you today about using subtext in your writing and specifically subtext in dialogue. I do want to let you know that I have a full overview course regarding subtext on my Instagram and also linked below if you want to grab that. It's a totally free resource and it's going to go into a lot of different ways that we use subtext in our writing. But today I really wanted to go a little bit more in depth and talk about specifically how we use it in dialogue. So I have 5 different ways you can use subtext in your character's dialogue. And if you've been following me already over on Instagram, you know I love a bonus. So at the end, I do have a bonus for you. Number 1, you can have your characters repeat a word or an idea back to their scene partner. They might mutter it under their breath. They might say something, for instance, like, "You're going to the store?" Right? And if I just give you that tiny piece of dialogue, you don't know why that's shocking, but you've been building up in your novel over time why that's shocking to one of the characters. Maybe something horrible happened to the character who's on their way out the door the last time they went to this store, or maybe they're right in the middle of an argument and one of the characters can't believe that the other one is about to walk out the door right in the middle of an argument. So, whatever it may be, repetition can be one way that you convey emotion from one of the characters. Or the weight of what's going on in the scene, right? You can have them cut off their speech. They might interrupt themselves or they might interrupt somebody else. I don't know. Maybe they were about to reveal a secret that is not theirs to reveal. Or maybe they were, again, they're so shocked by what's happened. This is a really good way to avoid the word suddenly. Um, you can say that something happened suddenly if it did actually happen suddenly. But again, this gets very old if you're using it a lot. So if something happens that's so shocking or so sudden or both that your character cuts off their own speech, then that's going to be a really good way to convey that without actually having them say it. Third, you might have them talking about one thing but meaning another. Okay, so I will take a minute right now and tell you that getting ready for today's video, I looked up a couple of my different resources, and this is one of my great resources. It is Dr. Linda Seeger's Writing Subtext. It is a great resource when you're studying subtext because subtext can be a little bit hard to grasp, right? It's not the thing that your character actually says, it's what they don't say. It's how they're standing, it's their tone of voice. It's a lot of different things that are not what they're saying. So if you're going to have what your character talk about one thing but mean another, that might be something like Dr. Linda Seeger's example, which would be 2 characters in a coffee shop. Okay. And the barista comes over and gives the woman her coffee and says, "Regular coffee, ma'am." And maybe her life has just been going crazy lately. And she says, "I could use a little regular right now." Right? She's not talking about the coffee. Obviously, she's talking about she could use a little regular in her life. So that's a really good way to have your character say one thing but mean another. This one's kind of similar. It's using innuendo or double meaning of a word, and this is used all the time in like a sexual innuendo to be funny, right? To break the tension. Again, that can get old fast. It kind of depends on your setting. I was going back recently and watching old Friends episodes with my young daughter, and I kept cracking up laughing, and she kept asking me what was going on, and I couldn't tell her. I was like, "I can't tell you," because it's all sexual innuendo in that show. I never realized when I was watching it by myself in my 20s. So using double meaning of a word, again, this is going to get old fast, but you can layer in 1, 2, 3 of these different things and we won't get tired of them. Okay. And you're going to make it your own. So finally, you can have your characters, ignore their screen partner or subvert the conversation. So again, this can be done in a multitude of ways. They might stay completely silent and refuse to answer. They might pretend to be busy with something else. They're suddenly very busy folding the laundry, right? And they just cannot possibly answer while they're folding the laundry. You might have them change the subject completely, talk about something completely different. You might just have them avoid the question with their own question again. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Moving on, the bonus is you can name your characters and places certain ways. Some good examples of this would be Hannibal Lecter, for instance. Hannibal the Cannibal from Silence of the Lambs, right? Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. He's dark and broody. He's a bit flighty, a bit, right? So it's not an incredibly on the nose description of him, but it really fits once you think about his character for a second. My novel, for instance, also linked below, coming out March 24th of this year. Had to give myself a little plug there. My novel, I named my sheriff Vincent Harding. I want him to be a real hard ass for the law. He's very interested in everything being done just by the book. So I gave him the last name Harding. I really named all of my characters in this way. Not necessarily their first names. Their first names tend to come to me, but as I'm searching for a last name, a lot of times I struggle there. So I'll do a little bit of research and see what's really fitting for this character. Okay, so once again, you can catch up with me here. You can catch up with me on my Instagram. Next week, we will be talking about using setting and the placement of your characters on stage to convey the meaning that you don't want them to say outright. Can't wait to see you then. Until then, happy writing.